Say hi.
Hi.
Where are you at? Gigi's house?
Gigi's house.
Finally, and what are we going to read?
I don't know.
Opus. Good night,
Opus.
Opus. Says, which book, dear Opus, may I read you tonight? Asked Gigi with love at the start of the night. Why, my favorite, I said. The one with the rhymes. The same one you've read me 209 times. And just as it is with all proper grannies, she ordered me into my pink bunny jammies. Then she sat and she said, hush. Her voice filled the room. Good night, she read. Good night to the moon. And good night to the lamp and the little toy boat. Good night to the mittens all hanging and soaked. Good night to the floor. Good night to the walls. Good night to the rug and the door in the halls. Good night, Tiny Mouse, and good night, Blue Moonshine. Good night. Grandma read 210 times. I can't really say how this happened next. And 210 times, I departed the text. Good night, I yelled, jumping. Good night, far away. Good night to you all in the Milky Way. Sit back down, Grandma said. Get back into bed. There's no one up there. That's not what I read. When your sight surpasses what's plainly in view, pull your head from the clouds, keep the ground to your shoes. Now let's finish this story with no Milky Way. It's important that folks get so carried away. It's improper. Look, he's over there. But she read no further. She had nothing more. Grandma had paused, and she started to snore. Grandma fell asleep. Now, I take full blame for all that came next, for I continued the story, but departed the text. Look at Opus. Look at that big Opus. Good night, I yelled down to the chap beneath my bed. Good night to you, big-nosed, blue-footed biped. I'm so sorry I missed you each night, but tonight I was told not to focus on things out of sight. Yes, good night, said the beast with the toes taffy blue. She's got blue toenails like Gia put on your fingers blue. Good night, said the beast with the toes taffy blue. I've been here for years and I've not noticed you. Do you have an Opus underneath your bed? No.
I'm not scared. I'm scared when I hear a monster.
There's no monsters.
No, well, when I don't touch my blankets, I'll lose them.
Oh, let's finish your story and get carried away. We'll wish them good night in that far Milky Way. My friend winked to me as his voice dropped to whispers. Let's go there ourselves, right in the kissers. A team's what we need. That's just what I said. So he signed up my pillow, and we gave my pillow a head. It's a balloon. Are they being silly? They're being so silly. Look, Grandma's asleep. That's all. That's all. Pretty tat. Look at that. See that? Can you see that? Mm-hmm. Okay. But what of dear Grandma? There's no need to tell her. We hoisted and snuck her down to the cellar. She'll hear nothing down there as she snored in her slumber, comfy and snug, under tons of cucumbers. They're going to put her downstairs. Our crew is complete, my Milky Way team. We boarded our Milky Way flying machine. Powered by dreams with some blue-footed help, we launched from the roof and let out a yelp. Good night to the city. Good night, all you people. Then we sideswiped a kitty, and we shortened the steeple. What are they doing? They're flying away.
Why? I don't know.
We flew past a fairy in need of some sleep. She spent the whole night just collecting old teeth. They rose to her girdle and covered her feet. There were heaps upon heaps, 2,000 feet deep. Good night, we yelled down as she waved over us. She wished to resell us an old Elvis molar. That's a tooth fairy. Bye, tooth fairy. They're being silly. You know who likes Abraham Lincoln?
Yeah.
Your mama. We dropped in to check on the Washington scene where we talked with Abe Lincoln and told him our scheme. He said he himself had chased a few dreams, but now that he's marble, he wished for small things. And what, I then asked, would you like most to do? I want to go swimming. And we stripped down and did too. Look, everybody's jumping in the pool. You'd jump in the pool, wouldn't you? We flew past the sailors of Blue Mist Lagoon where for 10,000 years they fished for the moon. They've seen it up there and they just want to hook it. They dreamed that one day they might baste it and cook it. Good night, I called down. We helped, but we're late. We're off to the stars. Bring us some bait. We flew through the clouds, and that's where we met all those wonderful folks aboard the big jet. We yelled them good night till our faces turned purple, but they turned also white when they swallowed a gerbil. We haven't a clue as to what caused the scare. They slipped by quite nicely with inches to spare. Then we soared high above till the whole sky was filled with lovable friends that the Milky Way spilled. Look, they're up there high in the sky like the airplanes. Oh, goodness. There, all of us, 6 billion udders. No cow dads around, just milky cow mutters. Good night, I cried out. Good night, one and all. Then they served us ice cream from the Milky Way ball. 'Twas time to go home, and they wept and said no. Then they kissed us good night, all 6 billion or so. So here's the freshest of up-to-now tips. If you're due a cow smooch, avoid those big cow lips. Look how big their lips are. Would you kiss a cow? No. I found my way home and collapsed on the floor not long before Grandma showed up at the door. I told her all what happened that night. Then I stepped out for once and followed my sight, and that sometimes it's good that we look for a way to depart from our text and get carried away. For years I've thought back to how Grandma had listened to all the great things that I said she'd been missing. How that night she had paused at the foot of my bed and smiled at those Milky Way cows overhead. I sure like to think one night or the next that my Gigi will get carried away from the text.
And then what's he doing?
He's just checking her out. So you got a horn? Is it a unicorn?
Like, my unicorn's white. I'm making a unicorn cake.
Yep. And there's that book.
What's he doing?
It's an Opus. Good night, Opus. That's the monster under the bed. He's not scary. He's silly. See? He's silly. He's silly.
What's he doing with the bed?
Just being silly.
What's he doing with the tea too?
Oh, he's drinking tea with his toes. Blue toes. What are your fingernails? You got blue? Oh. All right, let's go outside a minute.